Hi kids, so we've talked about alkanes, alright, and we've talked about different ways of naming molecules. So what I want you to do now is, I want you to pause the video and try and name as many as you can. Now, if you can't name them, then you wait until I've done one or two examples, and then you pause the video and then you try to name the rest, okay? Alright, so are you ready? Now, let's start with the first one. Okay, now this originates with one carbon. There's all single bonds, so it has to be something to do with a methane. However, it's not just a methane. It's a methane with a chlorine on it. So we don't call it chlorine methane. Instead, we call it chloromethane. Chloromethane is one word. Okay, so this is a chloromethane. Alright, now what about this? This is two carbons, so it's an ethane, and it also has just one chlorine, so it's just called chloroethane, because anywhere you put the chlorine, it's the same thing. Okay, it's just chloroethane. Now, if you do it a little bit different, and now you have two chlorines, okay, then this will be called dichloroethane. Now, but if you look at this molecule also has two chlorines. Therefore, this molecule should also be called ethane. Now, they look the same, but they are not the same, because this chlorine is on the first and the second carbon. However, these two chlorines are both on the first carbon only. So their names are different. They are isomers of each other. So this one, because it's the first and second carbon, it's called 1,2-dichloroethane. However, this one, because they are both on the first carbon, it's called 1,1-dichloroethane. So it's two very different molecules, and you have to understand they are isomers of each other. Okay, meaning that they are both C2H4Cl2. Same molecular formula, different structural formula. Got that? Okay, let's look at this. Now, this was a chloromethane. This would be called dichloromethane. Okay? And these would be called methane, sorry. Okay? Trichloro because three chlorines. Methane because it only has one carbon. Alright? So, if I want to write it out, the molecular formula, it would be CHCl3. And this would be CH2Cl2. And this would be CH3Cl. Get it? Chloromethane, dichloromethane, trichloromethane. Chloroethane, 1,2-dichloroethane, 1,1-dichloroethane. Okay? What would this be? This has 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not qua. Students like to say di, tri, qua. No, it's not qua. It's not quarter. It's tetra. Tetra means 4. Chlorine is chloro, and it's still a methane, so tetrachloromethane. That's where the name comes from. So it's CCl4, tetrachloromethane. Okay, now if it's chlorine, we say chloro, but if it's bromine, we say bromo. Not bro, bromo. If it's iodine, we say iodo. Okay, so same thing, first and second carbon, so it's 1,2-dibromoethane. Okay, now what about this? This has fluorine. Fluorine would be fluoro, and chlorine would be chloro, and it's a methane because it only has one carbon, right? Methane. Now, it's dichloro, difluoro. Or do I say difluoro, dichloro? We start with chloro. Why? Alphabetically. All right, so it's dichloro, difluoro, dichloro, difluoro, methane. Okay, so many years ago, before we knew that this was methane, and before we had a standard, this standard naming system is called IUPAC. Okay, this standard naming system that we use, that why we can call them all these names, is called IUPAC nomenclature, or it's just a fancy way of saying IUPAC naming system. Okay, so before we had a proper naming system, this wasn't called dichloro, difluoromethane. Scientists would call it whatever they see. So they would call this chlorofluorocarbon, because they see chlorine, they see fluorine, and they see carbon. So they would call it chlorofluorocarbon, and therefore chlorofluorocarbon is CFC. Make sense now? All right, but now that everything is in a system, everything has its proper method, we use the IUPAC nomenclature, IUPAC naming system. We know that this is actually dichloro, difluoromethane. Now it makes sense, because it started out as a methane with only one carbon, but then you took away some of its hydrogens and put other stuff inside, but it was still originally a methane. So that's why this has an ethane name in it, and this has a methane name in it, an ethane, because all of these started out as alkanes. Okay, so I hope this video helps you. Try and watch it again so that you will be able to understand clearer. See you.